Hello, everyone. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is So I'm Watching Outlander, Season 6, Episode 7, Sticks and Stones.
I feel exasperated by that episode. And if I'm being honest, this entire season.
Sure. yeah, I'm going to say yes and.
Yes.
Because I am enjoying lots of it. Like, there was stuff with Bri and Roger in this episode that I liked. All of the Lizzie stuff's amazing. But, like... Okay, we'll start here. Finally, Claire talks to Jamie.
Yes, thank God.
Like, what's been going on. But it's like a day late and $1 short, kind of, because it's like you could have been like working through this for like a while.
Yeah, if anything, that for me is the largest offense of this season.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if she hides this much of her pain from him in the books, but it feels like such an egregious misstep because she is a time traveler.
Yeah.
And she told her husband before they were married, or was it after?
It was after they were married.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So this is something so fantastical and something that could like have really shifted that entire thing. So you are going through pain and you feel like you can't turn to your husband who has been nothing but supportive and has also gone through his own stuff.
So that is the exact thing for me where I'm like, why all of a sudden, especially in these last 2 episodes, because all the Malva stuff that happened in the previous episode, like why all of a sudden are they seeming to have these trust issues? It's like they were together for multiple years before. They've been together, I want to say, for like going on a decade again now. And they both never stopped thinking about each other in the 20 intervening years.
Right.
And so I'm just sort of like, I feel like it's happened sooner in the book. They like have a conversation where she essentially is like, I kind of gave up everything for you because I loved you so much. And like, she even, which I don't know that they touch on it in the show, but she like makes a comment where she's like, if you wanted, I could have basically like gotten my tubes tied. And she's like, but I didn't, in case you wanted another child. And to the point where she's sort of like, I'm willing to die if that's what you want. Like to have another child with me that you can see grow up or whatever. And I feel like we should have been having these conversations more gradually over the episodes we've had, because now he also knows what a trauma that she had with the Browns, and it doesn't make any sense that he wouldn't also be like checking on her.
Yeah, the fact that she at some point in the episode, she's like, I'm gonna go make myself a cup of tea. You know, while just being very obvious that she's gonna go drink some tea.
Yeah. Also, it's been established in the season that they don't have tea.
Yeah.
Because of the taxes.
Yeah. And so he obviously seems perplexed or is like, something's up. So then, because I was really hoping, I was like, oh, are we going to finally get him, like, bust her?
Catch her, yeah.
And it just cuts to the next day. And I'm like, why are we not having this reckoning in their relationship?
Yeah.
Like, sure, it's interesting because, I mean, you know, not everyone feels comfortable or, you know, feels like they can talk about their trauma, but they together have experienced so much because in that flashback or whatever she had where we hear Black Jack's voice, we hear Frank's voice, we hear Galis, and so much of that they experience together. So I just don't understand why all of a sudden she's keeping it so close to the chest.
And acting like it's only her.
Right.
You know, because it's like, he wasn't physically traumatized this time like she was, but that's still a trauma knowing that your wife got gang raped by a bunch of dudes and like...
And then you went and slaughtered all of them.
Which, I mean, Jamie has no problem with that. It's like, you know, that's vengeance. It's, you know, mandated or whatever. But it just is kind of like... And she does admit to him in this episode that she was like having a rest with the ether. And he was like, oh God, you put yourself to sleep? Like that's... Like, he says it in a way that he's like, that's fucked up, honey. Like, and she keeps on saying she was, like, having a rest, but, like, every time she does it, it's not restful, because every time she does it, she's having these visions and images that are, like, even further traumatizing her. And she keeps on seeing Lionel Brown, And I mentioned it while we were out there. There's this episode of New Girl where they're all talking about how they lost their virginity. And I just have to say it because it's so funny. And at one point, Zooey Deschanel and Dylan O'Brien are like trapped in a playhouse together and he's freaking out. And she goes, I swear to God, dude, take your pills. I'm sick of you. And that's all that just kept running through my head every time I saw Lionel Brown. I was just like, I'm sick of you. I'm sick of this plot line.
Yep.
The fact that it's taken the whole season when like some stuff we're dealing with like within episodes, like the Lizzie and the Beardsley twins comes to a head and it's done in this episode. Yeah. And I'm sort of like, what are we doing?
I don't know. The one thing that I did like about her kind of like come to Jesus moment with her trauma and like her freaking out and her just frankly PTSD.
Of course, yes, it absolutely is that. And it is absolutely valid. But the fact that she's like, it just goes back to the same thing that we keep saying every week, where it's like, the fact that she doesn't think she can talk to Jamie about this. Mm-hmm. Like, she's not even talking to, like, Brianna, who as a woman has also been sexually assaulted. Like, I don't know. Because also Brianna specifically was like, I know what's happened. You can always talk. I'm always here to talk. Mm-hmm. Like, she said that, like, right after it happened when she was giving her a bath in the season 5 finale. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that it's taken all season, I mean, it's like, yes, because it takes a long time.
Yes, it manifests and all that stuff. But what I think is really interesting is that we're taking a look at what it means effectively to be a woman with trauma. And especially because selfishness is such a big part of why we compartmentalize and why we don't want to ask for things, because this is the perfect example of like, well, if I want something because I wanted something, all of this happened.
Sure.
So I thought that I liked that.
I liked that a lot because she was finally talking to Jamie and he finally was like, sure, but like, you know, because she's like, well, Bree wouldn't have been raped by Stephen Bonnet and like Roger wouldn't have been sold into slavery and like all of this stuff. And it's like, Jamie has to kind of be like, well, yeah, sure, except for like Brianna doesn't seem upset anymore. Mm-hmm. Like
they have Jemmy, she has Roger.
Yeah, they wouldn't maybe have had that if you hadn't come back. And like Roger has Bree and like all of the and like
they found Fergus and now Fergus has Marcelly.
And so that's all so lovely and so nice. And it does seem like it's getting through to her at the end. And I do want to go back and say, like, I understand that like real world trauma takes a long time to get over, and like I guess it's nice that they're portraying that in a realistic way. However, narratively, as I'm watching a TV show, it's getting very frustrating. And to have like, the thing about Claire too is that she has always seemed and acted and been so mentally and emotionally strong that I'm sort of like, I can't believe she's listening to this sort of specter of a dillhole who raped her. And then she like left her surgery and slammed the door, and like Jamie was going in to see what was going on and she was like, no, as if Jamie was going to be able to see him too. And I'm just sort of like, I feel like she has to know that it's all in her head, but she's taking it so on board in a real way. That's frustrating me.
Yeah, and we've experienced her having shell shock previously.
Course, yes.
And she was able, because she was triggered by Culloden.
Yeah.
And, you know, so she's kind of having to rework through those feelings.
Well, and even like losing the baby, there was like there was that whole really dreamy episode after she lost the baby. I just like, this is taking longer, but it's in a way that feels like they're dragging it out on purpose because they don't have enough other stuff to fill the time.
Yeah.
Which also, this is like the longest book up to this point. So I don't know why it's like, I don't know. It's.
Yeah. So we're dealing with that. And then on top of it, so she is, you know, she is coming at herself and saying all these horrible things. And then we're also having to deal with these fucking villagers being so nasty to this family. And I'm just like, again, and I know I keep saying it, they invited you. You have a home because these people invited you and provided for you. So maybe, I don't know, take a second and be like, you know, they really don't seem like the type that would slit a fucking girl's throat in their garden. And also, I'm sorry. These people who are like, kill or be killed, man.
Yeah.
Do you mean to tell me if your husband was being accused of fucking this girl, and this girl was like, yeah, no, I totally did it. Like, he knocked me up. You don't think that you would be in some kind of murderous rage?
Yeah.
Who amongst us?
No, 100%. And also the fact that I mean, okay, this is getting to a really gross place because obviously believe women. It's like, it happens.
Yes.
But like, no one's believing Jamie. And especially because multiple men in this town know that she had sex with them.
And multiple of these men were in prison with him and voted for him to be in charge because they know what type of person he is.
Exactly. So
all of these people are taking dumb pills, and I hate it.
No, 100%.
So the Fisher folk can go kick motherfucking rocks, okay?
100%.
They're all gossipy biddies.
Yeah.
And I need them to mind their business.
And also, what is with Mr. and Mrs. Bug?
I don't know. I remember them being like, no, I'm going to stand by my people.
I thought so too.
Yeah, they were shit stirring like no other.
They were telling Jemmy all kinds of nonsense about and so Jemmy's terrified that Claire's going to turn him into a ghost because every murdered person becomes a ghost. Mr. and Mrs. Bug.
Yeah, and then Mr. Bug with Roger.
Pissing contest with Roger.
Yeah, there's a sow that needs to be slaughtered. We wouldn't want to ruin your lunch. Okay. You know what? I am a learned man, and that's just what it is. Okay, Mr. Bug? So have fun slaughtering your pig, and I will enjoy the bacon.
That's the thing, though, especially about, which frustrates me because so many people today, that's like a mark of masculinity or whatever if you can kill an animal. And it's like, it's not, it's super not, because even back in the day where you were slaughtering your animals in your village, there were certain people who took care of that.
Yeah.
People who don't mind the blood and the guts and stuff. And then the rest of the people were just sort of ignorant, walking around eating the meat that the butcher made. And so I'm just like, it's not, and even Roger has that talk with Jamie where he's like, I don't want anyone to think I'm a coward, but I think I want to be a minister. And it's like,
yeah,
just be a minister, dude.
Remember in oh my God, what's the movie with Jason what's his nuts and then Mila Kunis and Kristen Bell?
Sarah Marshall.
Yes.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yes. And he goes with his Hawaiian friends to go stab a cat, and he's crying the whole time. That would absolutely 100%.
Be me. I can't do that.
Yeah. Now, if the zombie apocalypse absolutely happened, I would do it if I had to.
I'd find a way, or I'd find a dude or a lady who didn't care.
Yeah. And so it's just, but I would cry the whole time, and I'd just be like, I'm so sorry. Or I would just be vegetarian.
Because that's the thing, Marcelly, who is still gone in this episode.
I know, I want her back.
I'm angry about it. She was the one who was butchering half the animals for the Ridge.
Yeah.
Because she was good at it and she didn't care. And she grew up on a farm in Scotland. I just it's whatever. So that does bring us to that where Roger has decided they're going to go to Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
Edmonton, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to study to become a minister. And, he and Bree have a nice talk about it. And she's she doesn't think he's a coward. Everyone has their strengths, man.
Yeah. And she's basically fucking duh, bro.
She's yeah, do it if you want. But you have to understand that I'm Catholic. Are you going to
make me convert?
Yeah. Cause I don't want, first of all, religion plays zero part in the Fraser family.
Religion.
Yeah, it's
they subscribe to the religion that I like, which is don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Just live your life in a good way. Yeah. And then we'll just do right by people.
But that is biting them in the ass as well, so.
Yeah.
Whatevs.
Yeah.
So anyway, they've left at the end of the episode to go so Roger can do that because they're going to try to get him ordained before the new baby comes. I guess all that leaves us with is the Christies.
Well, we didn't really talk about, let's save the Christies for a second.
Okay.
And talk about the Beardsleys.
Oh, the Beardsleys and Lizzie. Okay.
Our first throuple.
All right.
Official throuple.
So Ian finds out that Lizzie is pregnant, and we don't get to witness that scene, which I would have loved.
I know.
And the first question Jamie asks is it yours? And Ian's like, no. Thanks, though.
I know. I feel like at this point, Jamie was like, God, is everyone fucking?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. Relax about it. But then I do love that sort. I imagine Ian in his head is like, no, the baby's not mine, but I will marry her.
Yeah.
I'll do it. And so she like won't, I guess, tell Ian who the father is. And she doesn't know because she's been boning both of the Beardsley twins ever since she had like 2 episodes ago when she had the malaria outbreak. Mm-hmm. And they both took care of her because the ointment needed to be everywhere. And Kezzy didn't want to get his shirt dirty. And there was only one bed. It's amazing. I love everything about it. When she's describing it to Claire, she's like,
what did she call their nipples? Their peps?
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Circled with curly brown hair. And they're identical everywhere.
And she's like, I didn't mean for it to happen. And Claire's like, honey, if you're fucking 2 dudes at once, you meant for it to happen. Like, that's like, come on.
Oh, God.
And she's like, no, obviously, yes. But like in the moment, it was not like purposeful. But
we're going to have a threesome.
Yeah. But she was like, I did it and I wanted to. And I've done it a lot since. And I'm going to keep doing it. And so Jamie just is like, you're getting married. I don't care which one. And he makes them literally draw straws. It's incredible. So Jamie handfasts her to Kezzy, and then...
And I love that he's like, you are Kezzy, right?
Yeah. So, and then he's going to send Josiah away until the baby's born, which doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Once she's married to one of them, who cares?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just go live with them in their little corncob hut or whatever it is. Regardless, later that night, before Josie can get sent away, they go to Roger, and she gets Roger to handfast her to Josie. And then the next morning when Roger and Bree are talking about it, Jamie is like, motherfucker. He's so mad. But I'm just sort of like...
Yeah, and I mean, Lizzie even says it. She's like, it's not hurting anyone, and it's nobody's business.
Exactly.
And then Claire's like, on the Ridge, everything is everyone's business.
Which I understand. It's just a gossipy village. Like, I get it, for sure. But also, like, all of y'all were fucking Malva.
Yeah. Yeah! Like, you can't be precious about this!
Like, every man in this village was fucking Malva. And then, but nobody will believe that Jamie wasn't. Like, nobody will believe. So Tom and Alan are both like, she's a whore and she can't be buried in the churchyard and all kinds of bullshit, which is so rude.
Yeah, because he was like, how much time? Was it a quick death or a long death? Because he wanted to know if she had enough time to pray to God to ask for forgiveness. I'm sorry.
If I were Claire, I would have been like, she suffered for hours. Plenty of time.
Yeah.
Like, you dick. Regardless, they're all so quick to be like, she's a whore and blah, 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 this and the other, because she had premarital sex and she was pregnant and like all of this stuff. And yet nobody is willing to think poorly of her enough to be like, maybe she's blackmailing Jamie for like money and protection. Whatever. And then Alan, so creepy at that funeral.
Yeah. And so they go to walk out and like... They won't let Jamie help carry the casket.
Yeah. Which also, I'm sorry, she has to weigh 85 pounds soaking wet. I don't believe there's enough weight in there that needs 5 grown men.
Well, so then they leave the baby coffin, and so Claire walks up to pick it up, and Alan freaks the fuck out and takes it and is holding it like a shoebox. And so, like... My brain just goes, so there's just a body and that's just going, like when he's like carrying it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a freaking football. And like, sir, have some respect. And that's another thing too. I think I'm having a hard time because I know who did it.
Yeah.
And so,
I know who did both things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we're doing like this whole runaround thing, and I'm just like, I don't want to do this. This is not fun. This is not pleasant.
That's the thing is like, this feels like the pregnancy announcement and the murder and the like finding out who got her pregnant and who murdered her feels like another thing that they're stretching just for the drama.
I don't want to hear people go up to Jamie and Claire one by one to tell them how big a piece of shit they are. And like fucking hear him Crombie like talking shit to Jamie on his own goddamn doorstep. And then Jamie just lets him like go. But I love that he's like, if you value your life, you won't say another word. But it's just like, I don't need to watch people one by one judge them.
That's the other thing, too, is everybody keeps coming up to Jamie and being like, your wife's awfully understanding about your philandering, but I'm not surprised she murdered that girl. And it's like, you come to my house? Like, he walked up the hill to say that. Like, the whole time, like, his anger kept him walking up the hill to the big house. And I'm like...
And I love, as he's, like, talking shit, he's, like, backing up. And it's just like, oh, the big man has so many things to say, but won't say it close to his face. I'm angry.
It's so ridiculous. So ridiculous. So, the end of the episode...
These motherfuckers.
She's so mad. I love it. What they say they're called again?
The Committee of Safety.
The Committee of Safety, because with fucking Richard Brown.
Yeah,
the brother, Lionel's brother, is like the head of them, and they come back to take Claire like away. And I guess we're having like a standoff in the next episode, which I don't recall.
I think I remember it.
And then they finally, like in the previews for next week, Jamie's like, I think you have to go with them. I think you're gonna have to go with them to like take her to town to like stand trial for murdering Malva. And I'm just like,
that's why I like the city, guys.
Woof.
Too many people. I don't know.
So we've got one left for season 6, and it's the finale. So, you know, I mean, a lot of stuff's going to obviously get wrapped up like it always does. And then I presume season 7 is going to be a lot of Revolutionary War.
Yay.
Yeah, which also doesn't sound like a lot of fun. I don't know. I feel... Obviously, these are like the big moments that they're picking from the books, which makes sense. But there's something about it that I sort of, I don't know. I like a lot more of the minutia of the books. If I'm being honest, like, I don't know. It's like Wool Dyeing Day, and then like me and Bree had a lovely conversation, and I'm just like, where's that stuff? I like that stuff.
I don't know.
It's a lot, and I think this season especially has been a little frustrating because there's been less good stuff.
Is that what it is?
Maybe.
Because I'm trying to...
There's been less, like, nice, exciting stuff.
Yeah, I just feel like this season has been so dour.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the thing is, like, I never got dour from any of the books.
No.
Like, there's always drama, and there's always something, like, that could be terrible happening. But, like, I never felt bogged down in it.
And... so many of these characters this season have been such fucking bummers, and we don't have enough to slam it the other way.
Yeah. And then you got rid of Marcelly.
Yeah.
Right as soon as Fergus stopped drinking, you sent them away.
Yeah, because I mean, at least in the first couple of seasons, we had Rupert and Angus to be the comedic relief.
Yeah, we have no comedic relief right now.
This is just so heavy. Yeah. And so it's like, sure, absolutely explore PTSD, trauma,
100%.
especially like, you know, the role that religion plays and all that stuff. Absolutely. But we need to have light. And the fact that Claire tried to describe Malva having light, ma'am, she was fiery.
I mean, I think she was being nice.
Yes.
In death.
But there has been little to no light this season.
There's like no joy.
Yeah. And the little bit that I feel like we got was with Marcelly and like the triad of these ladies, you know, and their support of each other.
Oh, now they're all separate again, which sucks. Oh,
I'm tired of all these stupid men.
Yeah, that's fair. We also found out they found the Sin Eater, but they're just kind of like,
he was missing some of his fingers.
They're playing Perry Mason because that Bree mentions that, and Ian is like, who? And I forgot they told Ian about the time travel, but they were like, it's a detective from our time. Because I don't know that they have time to explain television.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm still obviously liking it. I like these actors so much, and I want to know where the story's going. But I think that is it. Where this season to me has felt like when I was getting really frustrated with The Walking Dead.
Yes,
because it's like every single time they meet another like group of humans, it's like, oh God, great. Now we've got more firepower and all of this. And then you find out they're cannibals, or, you know, they want to like rape Carl. And you're just sort of like, like, what are we doing? So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, it's just, and we also, because the Revolutionary War is looming, and it's just like, great. So we have more heavy, bogged down stuff to deal with again.
Although, one fun thing is that they're going to cast Willie.
Yes. I'm very excited for that.
I'm excited for them to cast Willie.
Gonna get to go to Philadelphia.
Which is also cool. Yeah. So, There are some things I'm still like excited and looking forward to, but it is I'm sort of like, let's go. Let's do it.
Can we have like a dinner party or something?
Yeah, right? Like can we go back to River Run for like 2 episodes, maybe? Like
or like a surprise guest from Ireland, from Scotland that we like so
Jenny
much.
Murray comes to visit. Like,
oh my God.
That's what we need, is we need a Jenny Murray in here.
Yeah, for real.
To slap Claire up upside the head and be like, stop abusing drugs and take care of your family.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
All right, well, we'll be back next week for the finale, and yeah, see you then. Bye.